CFM.
CFM Radio.
Welcome back, gamers. It is once again Wednesday evening, and it's time for your weekly dose of video game music and news. What is up, Vector?
What's up, Drix? Video game music and news. I'm your host, Vector. That's Drix, spinning the tunes on the DJ table. Drix, what are we listening to start things up?
Right now, we are hearing Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon for the 3DS and PlayStation Vita. This song is called Exorcism.
Bloodstained, fantastic, fantastic franchise. Should all check it out. Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon, essentially a modern classic.
Yeah,
if you love
modern Metroidvania standard,
Yeah.
really. And like, I don't think there's a bad one. You can pick any Bloodstained game in the lot. You'll get all your Metroidvania fantasies fulfilled.
Yeah, there's a lot of search action going on in those games, you know? Like,
Yeah, love the progression, the upgrades, the weapons, the magic, the boss fights. You know, I only played it a little bit when I had like Game Pass for a second.
yeah, they
but
still feel
it was
good.
stuff. Yeah. Quality retro modern.
Bloodstained, great game. You know, that's it's just one of those things where when you're talking about that old school feel, you really want to make sure that the games that honor that stuff nail the feel of what they're trying to emulate, because Bloodstained really does give you that Symphony of the Night feel, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The graphics nail the vibe and the atmosphere.
Yeah. It's very, very cool. And you know what, man? I gotta tell you, I've been playing a lot of Kiln. I've been playing a lot of Marathon, but I said a few weeks ago I was probably gonna jump back into Guilty Gear. I didn't. I'm jumping back into Street Fighter, actually, as it would have it.
Yeah, new character pack, huh?
Indeed, yeah, they brought out Ingrid, a character that I've liked for a really long time that no one likes. They brought out Sagat, my old standby, and
Yes.
in the next one, in the next character pass for next year, I guess the first character is Vega, and that's my girlfriend's character. So, like, you know, she's gonna jump in and play it.
The one who says you're both weak and ugly.
Yeah,
Ow, that hurt
exactly.
When you lose Vega.
Hey, you know what? Vega he's a really technical character, but he's really cool. Like, again,
Yeah.
another staple.
Yep. He's been around a while.
Yes, he is an original world warrior. And I wanted to really quickly touch base on everybody here about how I'm going to be going about my marathon must-know / catch-up for the season articles. They're gonna be hitting CFM, clusterfuckmedia.com in a sort of rapid-fire way, starting next week. Next week, we're gonna start off the week with some Outpost tips article, like 5 essential tips article, and then we're gonna have an Outpost strategy and general routing, like mindset type article. And
Gotta
then
know where to get these extraction shooters.
yeah, you know, and it's one of those things where in Marathon, I'm going to start with Outpost. I want to start with that first because that's probably the one that, at least anecdotally, when I look online, that's the one that intimidates people the most, but aside from, of course, the Cryo Archive, and B is the one that is perceived as the most difficult, quote unquote. I actually think it is a rather easy map because of how objective focused it is. If you're watching the B-roll right now, you're seeing me mess around on perimeter. This map you could do a million different things on. You really got to know where you're going, and that's why I'm going in a sort of reverse order. We're gonna go Outpost, then we're gonna do Dire Marsh, and then we're going to do Perimeter. It's not that I think Perimeter is the most difficult map, but it is the most open, and it's the most consequential.
Ah, yes. A lot of stuff you might need there, huh?
Well, it's less about stuff that you might need and more about if you choose to do something, you are probably inviting aggression.
Oh yeah, because you got quests you got to complete and stuff. Whether
Yeah.
you live or die, that's how you get your progression. Is doing your tasks for your cyber buddies.
Exactly, and that's that. I know Perimeter is like the beginning. It's like the first map, but at the same time, when you get down to business, and when you're at the point in the season that we are, and that you may be, if you're playing this game, and you find yourself maybe a little bit behind, maybe a little bit trying to find yourself catching up. You're gonna realize you're gonna want to go into the quote unquote higher difficulty maps, mainly because if you end up dying, it doesn't really matter in the methods that I'll show you.
Ah, yes. Well, thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and helping me with my skill issue so I can get good.
We'll try. That's one of those things. I'll preface it right here. Marathon is one of those games where if you're not good at the gunfighting, then you will only be able to go so far.
Yeah, no, aim good, aim true.
Aim head.
Yeah. Crits.
Yes, absolute precision damage.
Sweet.
But that's what's going on. That's pretty much what I'll be playing. You might be seeing some Street Fighter B-roll coming up in the next few days here, simply because I've been playing Street Fighter. But Drix, what have you been playing? Are you still at the pinball alley, Drix? You still trying to catch them Pokemans?
Oh yeah, I think I'm at about 26 Pokemon now. I've got Bidoof. I think I caught like a Jigglypuff yesterday. So still on my pinball grind. I went to a Pokemon pinball launch party over the weekend. Didn't play that good, but I won a raffle, and sooner or later, once Game Freak signs off on the official banner, I will be the proud and lucky recipient of a Pokemon stirred pinball banner. So
Nice.
yeah, it wasn't there in person, but it's coming once they finalize all the details and characters and artwork and stuff.
Hell yeah.
Kind of excited about that. But other than the games that we are going to review pretty soon here, I'm still playing my staples on PS5. I'm, reclaiming my kingdom in Unicorn Overlord, as well as when I'm on PC, I'm playing a lot of Tropico 6 still. It takes me about like a week of 4 or 5 different saves to finish a mission in Tropico. So I got at least another 2 or 3 months of Tropico 6, and hopefully 7 will be just around the corner. But I got to make a theme park now. I got to really get some tours on the island, and playing in the modern era now. So all the tech tree stuff is finally open to me, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Jurassic Park, and there's going to be dinosaurs at some point. But yeah, I got to get in my time warp machine in front of the computer and get more hours into Tropico 6, of course, as El Presidente.
Tropico 6, again, we say this every week, I think.
Every week.
I was going to say, we say this every week. These games, these Tropico games, any of these grand strategy type games, you just get, like I said, that time just melts away. I was half tempted to buy the new Civilization game, but I had to stop myself because I realized that I came back to these discussions actually because I was like, fuck, if I play Civ, it's the only game I'm playing for 3 months, 4 months. I'm only playing Civilization. I'm only playing that game. That's what happened to me with Age of Wonders. Age of Wonders became that game. Yeah. I would log on. I would literally wake up, roll to the side, flip open my laptop, and fucking press that button.
Yep. Next thing you know, you look out the window and it's dark.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh shit, what happened? I didn't realize.
Where did the time go? But that's a good feeling when it comes to games.
Oh yeah, and you know what? With that, we're going to tell you about where all of our time went these last few weeks, because Drix, we are reviewing Far, Far West. Now, if you were with us last week, we gave you our first impressions of this game, and now that Drix and I have had a little bit more time playing together and actually playing separately, with randoms, I feel like we
Yeah.
are ready to give you our verdict on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And boy, it's good stuff. You know, it's absolutely the most like rootin' tootin' game I've played in a while, but I'm also a robot taking on hordes of undead. So I was absolutely loving playing this one, and I'm probably gonna stick with it. You know, unlock more magic and more guns and stuff. Hang out with some other people in sci-fi cowboy land.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those games I will stick with it, you know. But I'm gonna be a little bit more casual about this one because honestly, Drix, I gotta tell you, this is a casual game, right?
Yeah, not too stressful, especially if you're not playing on like the harder difficulties.
Right.
But even I got to a point where I was how you say the garbage man, and I was in a group with 3 other people, and I was just carrying the trash, you know, and I was like, oh cool, like, and I'm not even like super focused or like locked in. I'm just kind of staying schmovin', you know, which is like
Right.
one of the highlights of this game is just moving around and dashing and jumping and flying around, just running from these hordes of skeletons chasing you.
And that's the name of the game, right? So it's funny that you say that because it's not a very stressful game when you're not in the main mode, but when you're in the main mode and you are schmoving, you really gotta. That's when you have to lock in, right? You gotta lock in because because it's so easy to get overwhelmed the second you step into any other mode but hard mode, even on normal. If you're just like looking one direction, the same direction for too long, and then you turn around, all of a sudden you're taking a ton of damage from like 5 guys, and one of the skeletons is like Wolverine. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, definitely. You gotta stay schmovin' when you're playing in hard mode and stuff. But for some reason, there's like, I really like the variety in the different like objectives on the maps and stuff.
Yes.
Hopefully they, you know, sooner or later they'll add more. But it gets like kind of more fun when you're just, you know, getting mobbed by enemies and stuff.
Yeah, I will say that it is an interesting balance that they end up striking because you feel overwhelmed, but at the same time you're feeling like you're getting these objectives done almost just in the nick of time, right? Like just in the nick of time, so I could turn back around and kill all the other zombies behind me, and then have a little bit of breathing room. You know, it's a very, very surprisingly tight gameplay loop, and honestly, Drix, I think that's what puts it above most other games like this. With these wave survival co-op type Helldivers esque type games, right? They've got this one has that really tight sense of tension where if shit's going down and you just concentrate, you 9 times out of 10 you're gonna get out of it alive.
Yeah, and have a good time doing it.
And not just that, the progression I actually really like. Shit, Drix, by the end of it, you and I were playing the game completely differently, right? Like
Yeah, exactly. Depending on, you know, which of the 5 types of spells you leave the saloon with, or you know, how advanced and how, you know, deadly and big your magic becomes, your sci-fi robot magic. A lot of fun ways to, like, you know, play with your own style.
Yeah, and define it, right? Like, I really leaned into the magic user archetype, like low HP, but high cooldown, and so I was able to sling spells a lot while playing the game. But at the same time, Drix, you were just out there just mowing people down with your shotgun.
Yeah, no,
Like,
once I unlocked that shotgun, it was kind of hard to go back because these enemies will get like really close really fast, and like even the, you know, you never know when like something's gonna fly up to you in the air, especially when you're trying to do objectives and stuff, whether it's like, you know, stuffing dynamite into a missile or doing a quick like memory matching game, like even a little bit of basic math and like hitting a button with like the rhythm at the right time. You know, It was good, man. Especially surrounded by hordes of skeletons and the like. And there's all kinds of fun little like side objectives too. You can unlock, get a little bit of progress. You can find these points where you can like assemble like weapon fragments.
Yep.
There's little secrets to discover, like cowboy graves. And the funniest thing that happened was the like the cowboy quiz for your horse license.
Yeah.
Asking you the most random questions, and you kind of just have to pick the most cowboy answer. It really keeps things exciting, and it separates far west, a step above what you would call friend slop.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? Is that like this game has its own sense of charm, and it is unique. Its aesthetic is all its own, and it is over the top. It is over the top in that Helldivers-esque way, where like you're doing funny, over the top, super stereotypical cowboy stuff, even though you're like, or weird West stuff, even though you're robots, right? And it is funny to the like right here. You're watching it on the screen. You shoot these guys, and they like explode into a nuke. Like these little touches make playing Far West really exciting, so that you will always be able, when you boot it up and play with other people, you're always going to be able to do something and see something exciting, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Fight big marquee bosses, jump on, fight hordes of enemies, experience giant explosions and other huge set pieces. But I will say, Drix, I feel like if you like what you're seeing and you're into this type of game, you gotta play it now.
Yeah, no, it kind of walks on the razor's edge of, this could change, this could update. The game is absolutely still in early access too,
Yeah.
right? So it's not even in its final form yet.
Right, and it's one of those things where it's easy to say, "Oh man, it's only gonna get better. It's only gonna get better," and it's there's a ton of people playing it. I mean, it came out to like a 40,000 concurrent players or something like that. So there's a lot of people playing it, but that's why we're saying play it now. If you want to play this game, play it now. Jump in now. You will have a ton of people. I'm not saying this game's going to die or anything. It's clearly sold well. It's clearly going to be updated, all that kind of stuff. But the critical mass of players for a game like this is now. And it is not a simple game. It's a game that has a decent amount of nuance to it. Once it clicks, it's easy to make make everything routine, and it's easy to make everything part of your rotation while playing the game. But you might need a few sessions to actually get down what you're doing. You might want to figure out what you want to spec into. Spells do not play the same as guns, do not play the same as any other kind of type of game you can play. Like there's a bunch of different kinds of spells. There's a lot to the game. So if you want to jump in and be in that learning period, jump in now.
Yeah, it definitely feels more casual, like as you get deeper into it.
Yes. Like it's more comfortable. Like you want to know what you're doing to get that initial like progression hit where you're getting like your level like 12 spells and stuff like that by using the same school of magic over and over again, or like you focusing on the shotgun fragments so that you could get your shotgun immediately. You know what I mean? You want to be able to do that, but once you have it, you're pretty good, and it's pretty easy to kick a lot of ass, get a lot of currency, save up a lot of experience, and experiment with other playstyles. But you will have that moment where you're like, you don't want to be caught where like you're like caught between like 3 different specs at the same time, because that can happen in this game.
Yeah, you might want to go back for a refund on that one. But the other thing that absolutely takes some getting used to is the horseback controls.
Yes.
Am I right? We were seeing you fall into a canyon a little bit earlier. So, I mean, it's cool that you get to go really fast, but, turning, not so much. You kind of just have to go straight and aim and drive and steer with, like, your mouse or your, thumbstick looking around.
Yeah, we touched on this point last week, and it hasn't really even gotten so much better. But that is there. It's not the only clunky part of the game. Sometimes like landing, like finding out what you can land on is clunky. Like you think you can land on something and then you slide off. It doesn't really work.
The Bethesda mountain goat status.
Yeah, you absolutely can. It can work for and against you in that respect. So obviously it's an early access game, but there is a lot to love in this game. It's people say like early access games shouldn't really get like a definitive score, but this game has enough for that gives certain retail games a run for their money, you know? So I would say because there's plenty to unlock. I don't think there's any microtransactions. Everything is earnable.
Have not seen a one.
Yeah, so you definitely want to give this game a shot, especially if you're just, it is primo friend slop. You definitely want to get a group of friends together. If you're in a Discord server, everybody in the Discord server pick up Far Far West, so that every so often we can have a group of Far Far West people going on. And people can drop in, drop out, whatever,
Yep. If you want to be a cowboy robot that fights the undead.
And I think for that fantasy, being a cowboy robot fighting the undead, Far Far West is absolutely fantastic. And I believe it is a pretty good 4 out of 5.
Yep. Full on agree with you there. This is a 4 out of 5 from both of us here at CFM Radio.
Yep, that's 2 thumbs up for Far Far West. Jump in on the latest multiplayer extravaganza right now on Steam.
Yep, get it while it's hot, and let's get some games in.
And speaking of that, we are going to get another review, back-to-back reviews before we jump into new releases and gaming news. And Drix, this is one that you played. You checked this one out for us, and it is called Gunboat God. It is on the screen right now.
Yeah, this one is pretty cool. It absolutely took me by surprise because watching the trailer first, you can tell like, oh, okay, like we're shooting things. It's a bit of a bullet hell, but pixel art aesthetic, kind of cool. We've seen a lot of pixel art side scrolling, as gamers, but this one definitely stands out on its own. A little bit of the story is like there's something going on in the celestial hierarchy, and you've been banished to a post-apocalyptic sort of junkyard Earth where you meet a alligator or a crocodile. I can't tell the difference in pixels, but his name is Yeti. You might see him in the missions and screens. He accompanies you, but he's the one who actually built your gunboat. So the way this kind of works is you're on water, right? World is kind of flooded. So unlike traditional shoot 'em ups, you really have to focus on what's going on both above and below you, and that goes for both enemies and obstacles. So you can see like when rocks are sharp, you want to avoid them, but you can both dive and jump as well as dash, like either in the air or underwater. But just all these things coming together at once is actually really exciting and really fun sort of gameplay that I don't think I've seen anywhere before, even especially going back through like arcade classics. Like I never have to like submerge my ship to blast things, but it's more or less like a twin stick shooter. One stick moves, one stick aims, and you blast away. But another cool thing about this one is there's actually a lot of variety in the levels, and I think that's what makes it a lot easier to put a lot of time into this, because some levels you're just trying to survive like waves. Some levels are you have to race Yeti the crocodile to the end and beat him. Sometimes you have to just do laps back and forth or like collect different items and trinkets and then Yeti will put them together to upgrade your gunboat, so you can, further your gunboat godliness. But playing through the different levels, like the design is really cool. I got to a point where there's like these kind of escalator tiles, and you kind of like, shoot around like Donkey Kong coming out of barrels and stuff.
Nice.
It also gets kind of hard like fairly quickly. Not too unlike Donkey Kong as well. Like you get to a point where you're having to make these like leaps of faith, and another mechanic is you have to blast things to fill up like your little energy bar at the top there, and the more filled it becomes, the higher you can jump or the lower you can submerge and clear obstacles and more or less stay alive dodging the bullets in bullet hell. So super, like, again, really unique. And then as you kind of get upgrades and make progress, you can upgrade different stats about your guns, different mechanics. There's as far as I got like a shotgun and also kind of like a grenade launcher, and there's definitely like some advantageous pairings based on what kind of enemies you face. You're going to want to pull out different guns for the job. Really cool altogether, great package. The one biggest gripe that I have about this one, since I'm a music guy, I don't think the soundtrack fully matches like the story or the atmosphere. Like the music is kind of like synthy. The level select song sounds like some like the Weather Channel, like something kind of like vaporwave, and it's like, okay, like I get it's pixel art, but you don't really have to lean into like synthesizers. Like I'm on a boat like going through kind of different swamps and stuff. Like if they threw like a banjo in the soundtrack or got a little like banjo kazooie with it, like that would have really pushed it over the top for me anyway. Because like these executions kind of take practice and take time and stuff. So if you're gonna dump a lot of time and hours into getting good, a banger soundtrack really helps.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that because just before we went live, Drix and I were able to actually play this via PlayStation Share Play as well, which is a nifty little feature where you can play like local co-op, or as though you were local co-op with someone in a PlayStation party online. And I gotta say, this game is pretty unique. The multiplayer is interesting. It's one of those ones where you would think it isn't as good as it is, but it absolutely holds up. One person drives the boat, the other person is the gunner, and you might think at when you first hear that, oh, that's not great, but let me tell you, as someone who is the driver, it is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and like the bullet hell screens get so hectic that like playing with vector heat is actually kind of a relief, because it's hard to focus on both driving and shooting at the same time. So yeah, we could definitely sink a lot more time into playing the sweet co-op mode, and that's not something a lot of games will give you nowadays. So definitely stands ahead of the pack as far as what else is going on in gaming right now.
Especially as far as like a bullet hell game too. And again, it's not like a second class citizen mode. It's one of those modes where like now the platforming and the evasion really matters in this game. So you really don't want to be skimping out on any facet of Gunboat God.
Yeah, and you're it's not like a completely separated story thing either. Like you're actually just playing through the same levels that you would be doing.
Total
in single
co-op.
players. If you get stuck and like want to make more progress, you can just invite a friend and try divvying up the workload as far as surviving each level.
Pretty awesome, pretty unique game. And I do agree with about the soundtrack. Definitely didn't pull me into whatever experience that they were trying to sell, at least aesthetically. But
yeah, just kind of like plucked from a music library, and definitely didn't feel like it was composed specifically for this game, which makes a big difference.
It does. Those things do make a big difference. You don't notice it until you play a game like this, where you're like, man, it really, something like that really could have just elevated it to that next level. Rather simple, but easy to forget and easy to overlook.
Yeah, and not AI music either.
Right. So, given all that, Drix, what would you say your final score on Gunboat God would be?
Man, we got quite a pair of good games to review for you guys today because I am also giving Gunboat God a 4 out of 5.
Woo.
Yeah, good stuff.
Gunboat God, a 4 out of 5. You heard it right here from CFM Radio. Drake says it's a 4 out of 5. I'm kind of inclined to agree. I didn't play a ton of it, but it absolutely is one. I left playing wanting to play more.
Yeah, exactly. Just wait till you get all the upgrades and progressions and new abilities and stuff. It really does make a meaningful impact on the gameplay dynamics.
And that is our game review segment. We reviewed Far, Far West. We reviewed Gunboat God. Stay tuned. We will be continuing these little reviews in the future. We're trying to have
for the first time too.
Yeah,
a little before the show.
Yeah, we're trying to have at least one review per week here on clusterfuckmedia.com. So we are on a decent track record so far. But Drix, I think it's time to take a break. What are we listening to?
We're listening to what I ate for lunch earlier today, a song called Jack in the Box from Devil Dice on PS1.
Jack in the Box, Devil Dice, CFM Radio.
Clusterfuck Media.
We'll be back.
And it's all for my grog, my jolly, jolly grog. All for my beer and tobacco. Well, I spent all my tin on the laddies drinking gin. And across the western ocean I must wander. Where are my boots, my noggin, noggin boots? They're all gone for beer and tobacco. For the heels they are worn out and the toes are kicked about. And the soles are looking out for better weather. And it's all for my grog, my jolly, jolly grog. It's all for my beer and tobacco. Well, I spent all my tin on the laddies drinking gin. And across the western ocean I must wander. Where is my shirt, me noggin, noggin shirt? It's all gone for beer and tobacco. For the collar is all worn and the sleeves they are all torn. The tail is looking out for better weather. And it's all for my grog, my jolly, jolly grog. All gone for beer and tobacco. Well, I spent all my tin on the lasses drinking gin. And across the western ocean I must wander. Now I'm sick in the head and I haven't gone to bed since first I came ashore from me slumber. For I spent all me dough on those laddies, don't you know? But across the western ocean I must wander. And it's all for me grog, my jolly, jolly grog. It's all for my beer and tobacco, come on, lads. Well, I spent all my tin on those laddies drinking gin. And across the western ocean I must wander.
Clusterfuck Media.
CFM Radio, Clusterfucked Media, that's FUKT Media, and we are back.
Yeah, nice little sea shanty to send off Gunboat God. That was All For Me Grog from Assassin's Creed 3 Black Flag, because Vector and I were drinking a lot of health grog when we were playing Far Far West.
Absolutely. And you know what? Assassin's Creed 3 Black Flag coming out again, coming back at you as Assassin's Creed Black Flag resynced later this year.
Ooh, love Assassin's Creed sea shanties.
I gotta say, Drix, out of all these years later, I still think Black Flag is probably like if it's not the best one, it's like the second or third best one. Like, cause
Yeah,
it's like for me, it's like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, then like Assassin's Creed like 2, or maybe like
naval battles.
yeah, dude, the naval battles. Not just the naval battles, being able to board the other guy's ship. That ship was so awesome.
Yeah, that's a good time. Looting the high seas. Speaking of other things that are dark like flags, this is from Nintendo Land for the Wii U. The Dark World, which you might recognize from The Legend of Zelda.
I do love the Dark World. Is one of my favorite themes of Zelda. But you know what, Drix? I gotta say, that's not the Nintendo game that's new, right? The Nintendo game that's new that came out the last second is fucking Star Fox.
Oh, please give me Star Fox 64 again, but really, really pretty.
Hey, Star Fox 64. Hey, Star Fox 64. Break glass in case of revenue. Like,
Yeah.
Star
Please,
Fox
service my
64.
fandom. Yeah, I don't even have a Switch 2, and like I'm excited about this for whatever reason.
You're like, holy shit, I might actually get a Switch 2 to play fucking Star Fox 64 again. Like,
These games, they are coming.
they are a coming. And you know what? We are going to talk about them because it is time for new releases.
Yes, of course, because we can't quite get our hands on Star Fox just yet.
No, just no. It's coming out in June, Jakes, and I don't even think. Hey, we're not us here on CFM. We're too humble to get something like a review copy of prestigious Star Fox 64.
Yeah, Nintendo reviews, who needs them? Like, you love Mario, just eat it.
Just eat it. Because we're going to talk about Drix, the first game on our new release slate. It is Mixtape.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of wind of this one on the, social media reels, and was definitely intrigued by this kind of like adolescent coming of age indie film type movie, and it's got Iggy Pop on the soundtrack. I mean, come on.
Hoping that the game is as good as the soundtrack. And here's the Steam description, quote: on their last night together, 3 friends embark on one final adventure. Play through a mixtape of memories set to the soundtrack of a generation. Mixtape. Here it is. En route to the final party together, a perfectly curated playlist draws 3 friends into dreamlike reenactments of their formative memories. Experience a variety of narrative vignettes, exploring pivotal moments that shaped them.
Yeah, nice little fantasy teen movie there, huh?
Exactly. And Mixtape comes out tomorrow, May 7th. That's a Thursday, 2026. And Drix, I think you hit the nail right on the head with coming of age, adolescent, teenage story. This game just seems like it's riding that Life is Strange high, right?
Yeah, exactly. One of them choosy adventure games.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still can't, just based on the trailer and stuff, I can't quite place like what genre this is.
Yeah.
Exactly, other than just like really story driven. Like I see a little bit of platforming. You might do some skateboarding.
Some
or, like, riding around the
driving.
shopping cart, it's not giving visual novel exactly. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how this one plays out.
Yep, and if you're curious to see how this plays out, check out Mixtape. Comes out tomorrow.
Yep.
PS4 or PS5, Xbox One, and PC.
Yep. Dig them tunes, baby.
Indeed. And here, our next game is... Let's get this trailer of it. There's will follow the light.
Yeah, who knows? You might just follow the light all the way north where it gets real cold.
And from the Steam page, quote, for this one, will follow the light. Dive into a realistic, single-player, first-person journey through the harsh northern latitudes as you sail endless waters, searching for a way back to your loved ones. Will you follow the light?
I can only imagine the character's name is Will.
Gee, at this point, Drix, I hope so.
Yeah, I love when things are what they say they are, right?
Right, yeah,
But
exactly.
this one, I put some hours into The Long Dark, a while back,
Okay.
especially when it was still in early access. And that's kind of what this is reminding me of, like a realistic survival game that doesn't play along the lines of Minecraft or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely seems like one of those more immersive survival experiences. Like, especially if it does have a sort of supernatural edge to it, right? Like, maybe that's not so super pronounced in the wake of what the
it'll creep up
gameplay
on you.
is, you know.
Yep.
But that we'll have to see for anybody who's interested in Will Follow the Light, because that also releases tomorrow, Thursday, May 7th, 2026, for PS5, Xbox Series X and Series X and S consoles and PC.
And there you have it, a pair of pretty heavily story-driven new releases this week.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the. You know what, Drix? We've had a lot of really action-packed games over the last the last month. April
Yeah.
was a huge month for big games.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are still out there playing Crimson Desert and the like.
Yep. So that is it for our new releases this week. Go on out, grab yourself a brand new game, or if a game that you like is already gripping you, go ahead, boot it up. But for us, we got to get into some gaming news. But before we do that, we are going to take another quick break. And Drix, before we go, we got to tell the people, give us a like, subscribe if you have not subscribed, share us around.
Yep. Tell your friends where you get your weekly dose of video game music and news.
And tell us what you think at contact@clusterfuckedmedia.com. That's contact@clusterfuckedmedia.com.
Yeah. Maybe have yourself a nice chill time listening to this classic video game tune from Super Adventure Island 2 for the Super Nintendo. This song is called Just Married.
CFM Radio.
CFM Radio.
We'll be back.
Everything descends, in my head is down. I will not depend on anything at all. Walking through my mind, it seems all my thoughts are hurting me. Tear my veins with apathy till I can no longer bleed. And it's dark in your
Video Game News.
Video game news here on Clusterfucked Media CFM Radio.
Yeah, that was a bit of a new metal era PS2 banger. Alien Ant Farm featured on the soundtrack of The Punisher for PS2, a song called Dark in Here.
And you know what, Drake? There are so many PS2, PS1 era games that have like sick soundtracks. Like if anyone's ever played that game Gekido for the PS1, that game has some sweet licensed music in it.
Yeah, I love coming across those in my video game music crate digging.
Yeah, right. You never know what you're gonna come, especially in those like mid 2000s era games. They might just have this wild, because they tried to we talked about this like a few months ago. CD quality audio, huge revolution. You know,
that really changed the game. Next thing you know, you got like real artists and musicians. You know, oh well, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater had a great soundtrack. Why don't we try to do that with our game?
Exactly, and that's how it starts. You know, Tony Hawk, innovator. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Invented the 900 on a skateboard.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Speaking of innovators, Drix, this one is a quick little news story, but it's worth the news either way, because we all know Call of Duty, right?
Oh yeah, we've heard of that one.
Yeah, we've all heard of Call of Duty. Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, Call of Duty, all of that. You know what, Drix? Well, guess what? Call of Duty has been on pretty much the last generation of consoles for nearly the entire generation of the current one. It's been on the last one.
Yeah, who knew? I got my PS5 before the price hike, so...
Yeah, right?
Whether or not you answer the Call of Duty is up to you, I guess.
And you know what, Drix? Because guess what? You're going to need to have one of those PS5s or an Xbox Series X to answer the Call of Duty, because here it is, Drix. Right from the horse's mouth, the official Call of Duty Twitter, or X, Zitter.
Zita.
Here it is, Call of Duty. Not sure where this one started, but it's not true. The next Call of Duty is not being developed for PS4. Drix.
Yeah, that's a funny way to start a tweet, you know? How did this rumor start?
Who's saying this?
Yeah. Sources?
Yeah. Who is giving this hearsay? Now, listen, there has been, when you look at the tweet thread, they are responding to, ultimately, a couple of different, I guess, leakers, Call of Duty leakers. But at the end of the day, this is a big deal. Because like we said, the last 4 Call of Duty games have been all like cross-generation, right? That's what the package is. Cross-generation package.
Yeah, I liked that when I was on PS4. That was enticing. It's like I'd buy like Armored Core 6 or Diablo 4, and it's like, oh, cool, I'll have it when I do get a PS5. And I got to play them.
Yeah, I got a PS5 now. And they look great on it. And it's been, you know, those games, when we got them on the cross-generation, we got them in the beginning, and it made sense, right?
Yeah, and then when I did start playing them on PS5, I can absolutely, you know, see and feel the difference.
And now that we've like Call of Duty has kind of like been straggling behind. To be fair, you know, PS4, we hear it all the time we say it on the show, we hear it all the time from analysts. PS4 is still a huge user base. Switch as well, right? Still a huge user base, giant install base. Why leave these people behind? Marvel Rivals went back and put itself on PS4.
Nice. Yeah, it's worth it. I know some people anecdotally who, like, you know, only since the PS5 came out have acquired a PS4, but let me tell you, of that, you know, maybe generally a little older demographic, they're absolutely not trying to play Call of Duty, so I don't think they're sweating this bit of gaming news.
Right, exactly. And this is one of those people. This that thing where if you're one of those Call of Duty buyers every year, you probably already have the latest console. You've been waiting for this day. You know, like
If you're buying your annual Call of Duty game, then yeah, you're probably playing it on the current gen.
yeah. So Call of Duty finally getting with the times.
Yeah.
We're coming into the current generation just in time for the next one.
Yep. And just in time, hopefully, for some GTA 6, perhaps?
Oh, and yes, of course, GTA 6. Hey, how could we forget GTA 6, Drix? Well, I'll tell you who isn't forgetting who isn't forgetting about GTA 6. CEO Strauss Zelnick.
Oh, okay, we got a suit talking here.
Absolutely. We're going to throw up some GTA 6 right here on the screen for your viewing pleasure.
Yes, what GTA 6 we have available anyway.
Yeah, exactly. The announcement for the trailer for GTA 6.
Ooh, boy, this was a good episode of CFM Radio.
That was a great episode of CFM Radio.
We have a release date for a trailer for GTA 6.
For GTA 6. Fantastic days. So, listen, GTA 6, big deal. Everybody's waiting for it. And here we have from Insider Gaming. The headline is, quote, Take-Two CEO says console players are core consumers for Rockstar.
No.
Yeah.
And grass is green, and the sky is...
Drix, I had no idea.
Thank you, CEO of Obvious.
Here it is. Here from the article, quote, in a new interview, the Take-Two CEO has revealed that Rockstar has gone console first because console players are the core consumers. GTA 6's console first release is not because of a reported PlayStation deal. During an interview with Bloomberg, Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick discussed releasing GTA 6 on consoles first. The CEO stated that Rockstar's initial target is console players. As with a release like GTA 6, the developers will be, quote, judged by serving the core. Zelnick added that if the core consumer is not, quote, served first and best, then hitting other consumers will be an issue. When asked if the timed console exclusivity for GTA 6 was the result of a marketing deal with PlayStation, the CEO clarified, no. Historically, Rockstar has released the games on console first. The developer also mentioned that then Take-Two CEO, or Take-Two was first established, PC players accounted for only 5% of sales of their NBA 2K series. Now, for a major title, PC sales can account for 45 to 50, the CEO stated. Players are still unaware of how long Rockstar intends to take to release GTA 6 on PC following the console release. So, Drix, that right there ought to tell you a lot. He's kind of saying the quiet part out loud, and honestly, if you've been anywhere near the, I guess, quote-unquote, in the know in gaming, you know that publishers, developers, they always say that PC is what they develop for. They don't prioritize PC because of the amount of piracy that can happen, right?
Yeah, no, there's definitely other reasons than what Mr. Take-Two CEO is saying. Because, once it lands on PC, yeah, that's a risk. It's going to get pirated. You're going to lose out on money. But also, like, the modders are just going to break it, you know?
Yeah, the game gets completely ripped apart. You could make the argument that the game's going to get ripped apart either way because it's not like ripping apart a PlayStation 5 game is very difficult, but not everybody has the ability. You're not giving them just the raw files on a PC that they could just take a look at. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At least there's more hoops to jump through if you're trying to break down a console title, But no, like, Grand Theft Auto came out on console first, so we're catering to the console market. Like, I'm hearing some marketing copy there.
Yeah, that's a little bit of marketing copy. I'll agree with you. But at the end of the day, you again, quiet part out loud. Historically, it's about 5%. For a big title, it can be 45 to 50. But he's also saying in the same note that if you don't serve the quote unquote core consumer quote unquote the best and the first, then other consumers will not take to it. And that means that he considers that, at least Strauss Zelnick considers that the console consumer still is the top dog. And when we're talking GTA, I don't know what game series or franchise is bigger.
Yeah, that's tough. Fortnite, Roblox, whatever the biggest
Yeah.
user base is, but nothing is classic. And it's cool that, like, okay, the CEO's like, you know, he's done a bit of his history research. It's like, yeah, you got to understand your franchise if you're going to sell it. And absolutely, like, if the core player base isn't satisfied, then like it's just going to get around through like word of mouth, like, no, it wasn't good on console, you shouldn't buy it on PC or whatever. So how are you going to expand your user base, right?
I hate to use the example, but case in point, Marathon is one of those games where who knows who the core consumer for that game is. It certainly isn't me. God knows it's not me, but I got hooked, hook, line, and sinker. Doesn't really matter. But at the end of the day, no one really knew who the core consumer for that game is. It gets rave reviews from critics. People who actually, like influencers who actually end up playing the game, end up loving the game. But at the end of the day, it gets trashed through word of mouth. You know, people post the Steam charts. People say, oh, who's playing that fucking game? You know what I mean? You talk about it, and it's just not as big as it could be. So I agree that there's a lot of it's a strategic move. There's a lot of strategy going on here, right? It's a very strategic move, and again, it's a more even further in proof that's a strategic move because they're not telling you when it's coming out on PC.
Of course. You know, I imagine like a year after console release, you know, that's like Square Enix's average with like Final Fantasy Rebirth and stuff, right?
But Drix, who knows? We're at the point where PlayStation says we're not putting any more of our exclusives on PC.
Yeah, and probably for a lot of the same reasons too, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I would say so too. It's one of those things where I don't think you can really, whatever the taboo in the industry on the developer or publisher side is, where you can't just come out and say, hey, these fucking people rip our game apart. Can you give us a break? Like,
yeah, I mean, to be expected, you know, once you put your digital art form out into the world, you know, it's going to get modded to the point where, you know,
it's
now
unrecognizable.
We have servers and stuff. Yeah.
So GTA 6 firmly telling you that the console market is the primary market, take that as you will, and PC is the secondary market, take that as you will. It could go up to 50%, but I will say that he's talking purely potential, and his absolute, we'll end this show like this. The absolute willingness to serve the console market over every other market, whether that be PC, whether that be handheld, right? We can split hairs like that too. They're not. It's a handheld PC, right? Like,
yes.
Whether it be mobile, right? Like,
yeah, I can't imagine GTA 6 in these places, but it's, you know, it's possible.
It's possible, but at the end of the day, the console market is king, and whatever you might think of that is something that is on you, because the suits definitely think that it's still, when you want to sell a game, you want to get it on a console.
Yeah, I mean, consoles and gamers and video games just all kind of go hand in hand, you know. There is no such thing as a Nintendo. It is the Nintendo Entertainment System, and always was.
Especially since, you know, you've got this guy saying that You have him saying that it needs to be serviced the first and the best. Like,
Yeah, give the diehard fans what they want first. You know, the people who remember top-down GTA.
yeah. So if this guy is sticking to, he's talking historically speaking. He's talking. This is how we've always done these things. Well, he's being vague about when they'll release the game on these platforms that are secondary by his own admission, such as PC.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of marketing speak, but you see it a lot in the gaming space. PC gaming is on the rise. Lots of people are ditching their console to buy a PC. Who's gonna buy a console when you can buy a PC? Guess what, everybody? Newsflash: the PC prices are going up just as much as console prices, if not more.
Yeah, 100%. So if you would prefer to play GTA 6 sooner rather than later, might want to hop on a console.
Yeah, you might want to get a console. And I think a lot of people are thinking that same thing, Drix. I think people are thinking like, you know what? Fuck this PC shit. They're not even telling us when. So I'm just going to get a PS5. I'm going to get an Xbox. You know what I mean? I'm going to play some GTA.
Yeah, I'm sure sales are going to skyrocket, but thanks to Mr. CEO for acknowledging the existence of us old heads.
Yeah, exactly. And
I'm doing it for the fans, man.
right, and thank you, dear listener, for playing our music in whatever capacity you may be playing it in the background, playing it on your TV, front and center on your phone, doing whatever you want. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for coming back and watching these live replays. If you can't make it here in the chat, Wednesdays at 7:30.
And we will be back next week, not on a Wednesday, but next week is a Thursday edition, CFM Radio.
Yeah. Another Thursday edition of CFM Radio. We'll have to make it extra special for you listeners.
But for now, everybody, go play some games. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
See you next week.